Good morning and welcome to this week's Timcast. Brought to you from the toy boat shed, which used to be my office, but now it's a toy boat shed. We had some watery ingress over the winter and decided that it would be better to have an office on a boat where it would just float if the water came in again. So here we are. We were going to do an outside broadcast this morning, but unfortunately, owing to the weather situation, it started to rain, so we're inside unfortunately. But there we go, that's just the rub of the green sometimes. So here we are, another bank holiday. They seem to have all fallen in quite quick succession this year. We've had obviously Easter, early May, and now we've got Whit Week. So we've got a whole week of potential boating action from sort of Friday onwards, which is good news. So let's start with Friday. I don't think it's particularly a boating day, if I'm brutally honest. We're going to have sort of 22 miles an hour from a northerly direction, so it's going to be flat, but it's going to be very cold, I think, out in the water, especially when you're nipping into it at sort of 30 miles an hour. You're going to feel quite chilly. Plus the fact, I think it's going to be a bit showery through the day, probably for most of the day in all honesty. There might be the odd spot of sunshine, but I wouldn't expect too much. So really, go boating if you really have to, but save yourself for Saturday, Sunday and Monday, because you'll have a much better time. So here we go with Saturday. North to northwest, 15 miles an hour, flat and cold again. There will be a few showers, but I think we might just miss them here on the peninsula. So I reckon if you wanted to go boating on Saturday, you could go boating. That would be a good thing to do without any issue at all. And then overnight, on Saturday into Sunday, a high pressure starts coming in. I won't bore you with the details, there's lots of stuff happens and magic and things, but it means that Sunday will be a good day. Southwesterly breeze, 12 miles an hour, so the wind's dropped off a bit, changed direction. It's going to be showery in the morning but sunshiny in the afternoon, so really go boating on Sunday, I think, is the answer. Monday, west-southwest, 6 miles an hour, so the wind's dropped down yet again, which is fantastic news. Good direction west-southwest, so that's good, the bay will be flat. Sunshiny all day, 13 degrees, I reckon Monday is a definite go boating day. And then I presume a lot of you will be down for the whole week, so I would probably suggest that looking into next week, you probably get a lot of boating in. If you were down and you wanted to, I reckon probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at the very least would be good boating days. However, there is a bit of a caveat with this week's Timcast. Every time I've looked at the weather forecast over the last sort of 4 or 5 days, as I tend to do, because that's just how rock and roll my life is, it has changed quite a lot. They were forecasting horrendous winds from the east on Saturday and Sunday at the beginning of the week. That changed to horrendous wind from the south to southwest by Wednesday, and now they've decided it's going to be quite nice. So if you are going to go boating, just be aware that it might not be quite as good as I've said it might be. Hopefully it will be, because you should already go boating, because it's a really nice weekend, I reckon. But just take it with a pinch of salt, and just bear in mind that sometimes the Timcast isn't quite as good as it pretends it might be, although it is usually very good. Trying to forecast sort of 4 or 5 days in advance isn't always particularly clever. If you look at what the BBC do, they try to forecast 24 hours in advance and usually get it wrong. So I'm out on a limb here, but I think we're going to have a good weekend generally. And if you can't go boating, you can always go to the pub or nip down to idealboat.com down in Pethelium, buy yourself a new boat.